So there's this idea when you're trying to become a writer, an artist, some type of creative person, that you need to niche down. You need to figure out what is your thing, your lane, your trajectory to find success. Because realistically, like if you were like a generalist, if you were somebody who likes a lot of things, who does a lot of things, who has a lot of different ideas and genres of creativity and whatever, that you are not going to find success because you are going to be so split in all of these different directions that nobody's ever going to find you. And even if they do, they're not going to really latch on to you because what are you good at? What can you bring to the table that nobody else can? And I hate it, not because it doesn't work. You know, businesses use this strategy a lot, especially when they're trying to get their target customer, their target audience, because it helps to really kind of zero in on who you want to attract and who you are so that people know what to expect whenever they come and find you. But when you're a creative person who is trying to figure it out, or you're somebody who is just trying to honestly share the full breadth of who you are as a person, niching down can be so difficult and so reductive because it starts to treat creativity like it's this, precise instrument machine thing. And it strips away so much of the stuff that makes us human. I think about myself, I'm a writer. That's what this whole channel is about, more or less. But the reason that I talk so much about creativity as a general thing and not just writing specifically is because I have so many interests outside of just being a writer. I have experience as a designer, as a musician, as a website person. I like tech, I like video games, I like a lot of different things that really influence how I come about creativity, how I come about writing, how I come about my work. And it matters to me. And for a while, it felt like a problem. Me being into so many different things was a bad thing because I would look around at so many other writers who, they only read books and they only ever wrote. And that was kind of the lane that they went down. And yeah, they were, probably more effective writers. They were churning out more content more consistently, whatever. And it's easy to look at it and think, wow, that's not great for me because I want to be a writer. That's my big primary goal, but how can all of the rest of me fit inside of this if I start trying to strip that away? And you get a lot of this advice, especially when you're a creative, just pick a lane. Just niche down. Figure out the thing that you want to be known for and just do that. Get rid of all the other stuff. Forget about everything else. Just do the thing that you want to be known for. And it's advice that is so reminiscent of when you're 17 years old in a high school counselor's office and you're trying to figure out what you want to go to college for. And they ask you a question that's what do you want to do for the rest of your life? And it's I don't know. I'm just a kid. I was eating Captain Crunch this morning. Why should I know that? The idea that you should just be able to at any moment pick who you want to be and what you want to do for the rest of your life is ridiculous. And it doesn't make sense. And especially when you're just starting out. For a 50-year-old creative, that's ridiculous already. But when you're just starting out, when you're a kid, when you're in your 20s, your 30s, and you're still trying to figure out what even do you like doing? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to live? Whatever. It's impossible. You can't just know and decide at any given whim that you want to be this thing and you're going to want to be this thing forever. It's a thing that you just kind of have to deal with in 2025 because everything has to be marketable. This is coming from somebody who's in marketing. Everybody is thinking about this, whether you're a big brand or you're trying to come up with your own personal identity on how you can grow your channel online. Everybody is trying to think about how they can cut through the noise and be something that somebody cares about. And it's such a different approach than what creativity used to be, where like, yeah, you were trying to create things. If you were an artist, you wanted to create things that would sell, but by and large, like you didn't have all of these avenues and all of these eyes. You were trying to create things that really mattered to you, and your voice, the person that you were, your style naturally developed out of that. You weren't trying to manufacture this thing and be this person. You were trying to just create. What if you're the kind of person who has like 1,000 tabs open in your mind all at the same time? You're thinking about writing, you're thinking about design, you're thinking about your favorite movies and your favorite books, and that craft store down on the corner that you really like. And what if one day maybe I want to open up a pottery shop in a town by the ocean? How do you do that? How do you bundle all of those things together and not get labeled as like, oh, I'm the person or I'm this thing? What if you're just somebody who wants to make cool stuff? Because here's the thing, like your creative identity is not a job title. It's not like a cute headline that you can put on LinkedIn. It's not a pitch deck. Like we can distill parts of that down, but it is so difficult to fully just communicate who you are as a person. And so the idea of trying to niche down, of trying to reduce all of you down to the smallest, cleanest, most efficient thing is in a lot of ways ridiculous. Doesn't mean it's not useful to try and clean up some of the edges, but it really does mean, how can I reduce myself? How can I strip away so many of the parts of myself that make me, to be what somebody should want me to be? And I think about artists like Bo Burnham, for instance, who is a musician and he's a comedian, but he's also a writer. He's a talented filmmaker. He's a lot of different things. And, I don't know Bo Burnham personally, but he seems like the type of person that he has things that he wants to say, and he has things that he wants to do, and then he has things that he wants to create, and he does what he needs to do to make that stuff. Granted, you could have the counter argument that like, oh, he's niche down, he is this music comedian, whatever, like he's figured out his niche. But I think a lot of that has come very naturally. He's figured out who he is, where he ascribes value, who he wants to be. I don't think maybe at one point he narrowed down and, really tried to lean into that niche, but I think the person that he is now, the work that he's known for now, is very natural and it's very organic, and it's something based around the things that he's passionate about. And I think that that's something that people are going to value a lot more heading into 2026, 2030, whatever, whenever you have so many like AI creators and you have so much stuff that is so streamlined and efficient and like perfect, quote unquote, in a lot of ways. Is like they want people who feel like people, and people are not laser focused, niche down entities, things that are just pointed at one goal and that's all they think about and do. Maybe I've known people who are kind of that way, but I think the vast majority of people, they contain multitudes. There are a lot of different things, and that is the beauty of being human. Yeah, algorithms love a good niche. They love for you to, pick a lane and stick to it because it's easier to categorize. It's easier to serve your content to someone else. But if you're not a content creator, for one, who cares? But also for two, even if you are, as we're moving into this era where people want more authenticity and they want people who are creating from the heart, that is the stuff that is going to filter through. Like even when all the other stuff is being served up on a platter, like that is the thing that's going to stand out, because it's like, well, it's not like everybody else. It's not, you know, this version of me that is trying to copy what's popular. It's me, and the people who want to see me are going to find me and engage with me and like the stuff that I am creating and wanting to do, because it feels real and authentic. You're not a brand. You're not a business. You're not a category. You're a person who's making stuff, and you don't need permission to be inconsistent sometimes, to be imperfect sometimes. You don't have to apologize for being a person who does a lot of different things or who is just trying to figure it out. So no, you don't need a niche. You don't need to fit inside a box because it's easier to sell you or explain who you are. You just need to be curious. You need to let your work be messy and be the thing that it's just going to be, because the people who get it, they're not here for a niche in the first place. They're here for you. They're going to be here for the things that you make and the weird, cool stuff that you're about, because nobody else is going to do that. And the people who niche down, you know, at some point it becomes watered down and sterile. And the stuff that you create is going to be full of personality. It's going to be super cool, especially as we move on into, you know, whatever stuff comes next. So yeah, hope that made sense. A lot more rambling than I thought it was going to be, but I thought stuff about this, and I hope you found something helpful out of it. Bye-bye.